We got a good primetime game. It happened. Treasure that moment because you might not see it for a while. We've got some Thursday night football to talk about, but we've got some Sunday winners to find on the underdog pick'em board. Come join us for the bonus show. This is the Player Profiler Pick'em Power Hour starting now. Welcome to the Player Profiler Pick'em Power Hour. I'm Ahaan Rungta, joined with Trevor Tipton as always, and I think I can speak on behalf of both of us. DK Metcalf.
I will let you have that floor as someone that owns a bunch, and we're in the playoffs at FFPC, right? One of the high stakes areas. You know, it's 1 through 4 is playing these next 2 weeks. One of the reasons I targeted DK this season is because of their bye schedule, and I am just going to let you take that floor. I took advantage on a betting side. We bet his first TD prop for the game. I run hotter than the surface of the sun on there. I don't know how, right? I expect to win a couple of those this season. I've won 3 out of the last 4 primetime slates and 4 out of my last 5. So I can't keep that rate up. It's literally impossible. But this is your day. This is your throne. This is your man to talk about. Enjoy, take over, and everyone listening, I would try to keep him on the highway.
Look, Trevor, you mentioned the first TDs. Shout out to you for the first TDs because I was on the tailgate last night with Bradley Stalder, and we got people in the chat asking about first TD bets, and I was thinking in my head, where's Trevor when you need him? Because, the one night I could have just said DK blindly. I don't play the first touchdown market that often, but the one night I could have just said DK blindly. I didn't, and I tried to get cute and said, give me Jalen Tolbert because I did sprinkle on him for a touchdown a little bit. Started getting some red zone work. But story of the night, obviously, both CeeDee Lamb and DK Metcalf, 2 of my favorite players. If you followed me on Twitter at all, I've been obnoxious pushing their agendas since before they got drafted. Till this day, it haunts me that my Patriots didn't draft DK Metcalf, drafted N'Keal Harry. AJ Brown would have been acceptable there too, but not N'Keal Harry. But I was so superstitious about talking about this game, and obviously for the show, we went with the field goals on both sides. I woke up just assuming, it can't be that, my life can't be that perfect. I can't just wake up, want a CeeDee versus DK masterclass session and get it. But then we did combined for 18 catches on 25 targets. Actually, CeeDee there were a few catches that he could have had, which he actually didn't. He could have easily had 15 catches there as well, but they still combined for 4 touchdowns and each had well over 100 yards. It was the rare game that CeeDee wasn't the leading receiver in the game, and it just happened to be DK. And I guess however you view it, whether it be Dayron Bland is Diggs 2.0, right? I mean, pick Merchant, or whether it be just DK Metcalf is a top 10 talent. I will keep pushing that, and I know people will say I can name 10 better receivers than DK Metcalf, and I'll keep telling you you're wrong because I think DK, in the sort of situations that many of the other top 10 sort of guys get put in, would be, putting up the kind of numbers that he does. But we live in an era where Pete Carroll will run the football every, late in the game, every down, even when it's the negative EV thing to do. We live in an era where alphas don't get targeted when they need to. DK had 2 targets or 0 targets in the last 2 drives of that Seattle game. And obviously that game ends with the Seattle offensive line just crumbling. And I think that basically summarizes why people don't view DK as a top 10 receiver. But last night, he definitely behaved like a top 10 receiver. So happy we got that. And I also, just to tie back in with what we do on the show, Jason Myers, he missed a field goal. And the field goal came after a delay of game. It could have been a 37-yarder. Kicks a 42-yarder instead. Misses it. We get 5 touchdowns and don't get to 6 kicking points. If we had 4 touchdowns and that made field goal, we would have cashed easily. That's how we lost.
I don't have words. Like that wins 90 in that game scenario. That wins 99 out of 100 times. 99 out of 100. That is, he's dead to me. He is on the list. He is on. I would okay. What would I rather do? I would rather bet on Bryce Young again this season than bet on Jason Myers again this season. He is on that level for me. After that, at one point I literally texted Ahaan and said, "You think they could score 7? They might score 7, and we might just get there that way." Like, and to tie into what you're saying, the guys, DK has Geno Smith throwing to him with Pete Carroll as the coach. If he was in any kind of offense, he would be putting up lunacy numbers. The guy is a freak, and I love him. Again, he's putting up numbers despite the situation he's in. Hopefully, Seattle can get him a quarterback, but not before my 49ers win a couple other Super Bowls. I wanted Seattle to win. It was better for the seeding for the Niners. Dallas found a way again. I'll be interested to see after this week's NFC matchup what happened. But I can't. We should have cast the first quarter. The first quarter. So yeah. So yeah. I digress. I will move on.
And last night was also a preview of a little bit of. Did I? I think I posted in the wrong chat. Yep, I did. It's always the bonus show where I goof up a little bit on the technical difficulties, but trying to tell Trevor that his sound was not 100%. Accidentally posted in the wrong chat, but now you see while he figures that out. But I think last night was a good example of the flashes of why we take guys like a Christian Watson over on receiving touchdowns on a full season entry, and why we put DK Metcalf in that entry as well. Guys, we have life on DK Metcalf. He had 3 touchdowns in that football game. At 6 now, we need 8. So there's some life there. And speaking of season-long entries, if you want to play underdog with us, even you're late to the punch, that's fine. There's so much football left. It's week 13. I believe most of the money I made last year, over 50% of the money I made last year was from weeks 10 to the end of the Super Bowl. Or it was, I think, more than 60% last year. So I personally get better as the season goes on, and you start to see that with some of these Sunday shows that we do. So it's not too late to join Underdog and get in on these pick'ems with us, and you can do so upon entry with promo code Underworld. And we post early leans for the Sunday slate on the Underdog Pick Generator as part of the DFS Dominator on PlayerProfiler.com. And we posted 12 picks, early picks for Sunday. And a few of those are some of our favorites that we're going to discuss today as we finalize our entries. But before we do that, let's just hear a quick word from the Podfather.
All right, I want to take a moment today to talk to you about data analysis. The data analysis tool, we listen to the users. What do you want? What do you need? And we made it happen. We added popular reports like a fantasy scoring report, air yards report. And if you want to create a new report, but you don't necessarily want to look through every field, we have quick results. Hey, show me the most popular passing data. Show me the most popular rushing data, fantasy data. Done. And the thing just is much faster than it's ever been. And the report builder got a lot easier. I mean, check this out. We break it down into offense, defense. Show me just fantasy data elements. And then when you get results, hey, show me by draft year. Let's take a look at just certain players that played a certain number of snaps or a certain number of games last year. This is the tool that so many of you have been asking for, plus a bunch of dream features that Billy wanted and Cody wanted and I wanted and Dario wanted. So go to the fantasy tools section, click on data analysis, or go to playerprofiler.com/data-analysis.
We are back on the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour, where we're about to lock in our entries for Sunday on the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em board. There's a lot of potential narratives going on here, or just interesting situations that I want to look for in Week 13. Obviously, we've been hot on the show. Last week, I came off a 2-pick winner, and Trevor's had his streaks of coming up with winners every single Sunday. And last week, Trevor, you just picked one of the few losers in the entire week you had for the show. But on the underdog pick generator, both of us dominated. So let's pick the right one. Both of us. Let's make a deal. Let's pick the right ones today. A lot of interesting matchups. And one of my favorites is one that you're about to go to is the potential Baker Mayfield revenge game against the Carolina Panthers. And I think the revenge narrative gets overblown a lot. But in this case, I actually think there's something to this. Baker's the kind of guy that wants to face the Panthers. And looks like you're going to this game to start us off.
Yeah, this is if you follow us, you know we are Rachaad White fans on this show. Ahaan and I have a lot of exposure in season long, in Dynasty, and best ball, and he has been a show favorite. And one of the things Ahaan brought up earlier, for those of you that are listening, something to think about. One of the things that helps and why we're able to get a little better is we can really just break down the usage. We start to see usage get condensed and narrowed in. So we're trying to find usage and usage spots we can attack each week. Bryce Young's just a terrible quarterback, and he's might as well be Jamarcus Russell. So he's going to be a bust. He'll be the guy's going to make $30-40 million in his career after his first rookie contract. He's going to be a great backup in the NFL, but he'll never be more than that. You can bookmark this one. However, Baker, and one of the things we love about Baker is Baker leads the league in what? Check downs. So not only does Rachaad White get a ton of carries, he's going to have the opportunity to get these checkdowns from Baker. So we're not going to just do rushing yards this week. We're going to do rushing and receiving, and we're going higher. And here's why. White has the ability at any time to break off a 30-40 yard run or a 30-40 yard pass. And we don't want to miss out, right? If you look on the higher here at 62.5 rushing yards on 16.5 attempts. So they know that he's going to get the ball. Why do we get the ball? Because Carolina's run defense is awful. It's the second worst in the league. And I could list you metrics till the cows come home, but just go watch. Every single week, that's who we attack. Look how it went last week with the big dog for us. And then Adam Thielen was just, Adam Thielen can't even overcome him at this point. So, but things we like to see on usage with Rachaad has been his continued growth here. So 5 out of the last 6 weeks, he has hit this number. And he's hit it against, solid defenses. The only game he missed during that stretch was against San Francisco, which San Francisco, as you saw, is, finally healthy and they're bullywhacking everybody. So that's not a really fair matchup, but they're currently 24th in the league in rushing yards allowed. They're third in fantasy points. And again, this is a guy that is getting a ton of targets. So not as only is he getting rushing yards, but he's also getting receiving targets. He's had multiple games of 6 catches. He's had the game against Buffalo, he had 7. And this is a game, right, that we know Baker's going to want to push the ball. They're going to want to move forward. And it's they're just middle of the pack when it comes to receptions. But when it comes to rush, it's there. So I want the opportunity. You hear it say this each week. What is the opportunity for us to take advantage of is usage and upside. So after coming off a 100-yard rush yard game against Indianapolis last week, this run defense is any worse. And we want to lock this up early. I think this gets closer to 92, 93.5 by the time it closes this week. I think we're going to see some bump. I think it comes from the rush side. Again, in a matchup that we like, in a spot we want to attack. We know who Carolina is in the season. They fired their coach. Now, the other thing that I actually like that I think is going to help push them tempo is the spread has been covered and coaching changes are 4-0. The last 4 times have been fired. So I think, hopefully Carolina comes out a little fired up. They are playing Baker. I like the opportunity to go after them. Again, so things we're looking for here is rushing attempts, right? We see the higher, lower 16.5. We see that he's at 22.5 receiving yards. We got to pay a little juice because we're doing the 88.5. But again, he has opportunity to break either way. And I would be crushed if he had 110 receiving yards and 55 rushing yards and we didn't do rushing and receiving or vice versa. So we're going to take advantage here with Rachaad. And we're going to get locked in because my other pick we had 3 picks to be safe. My other pick is already gone. I was going to go back to the big dog with Derrick Henry in this matchup. He gets this week, but I don't see it there. Let's go double check one last time. And nope, it's gone. So his rush yards are off the board. So we're going to stay in that game, though. And we are going to go to the man, the myth, the legend from the University of Southern California, Mr. Michael Pittman of the Indianapolis Colts. He has been a machine, especially with Gardner in. He is Gardner's safety blanket. He is getting all the targets. He's just a PPR dream. He has had at least 8 receptions in 4 straight. He had 10 last week versus Tampa. Carolina's pass defense is good. As bad as their run defense is, and one of the reasons we like Rashad in this game is how good Carolina's pass defense is. They are terrible against the run, but good against pass. Now he gets the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are awful. They're 27th in the league with receptions allowed. And as you've seen us multiple times this season go attack the Titans passing game, that's what we're going to do. Jonathan Taylor out. The O-line for Indy is banged up a little on the run blocking side. So this is a spot we want to take advantage of. You want to attack Tennessee's secondary and go after them. So we're going higher receptions. We're not going to worry about his yardage. We're going to go over 6.5 receptions. Player Profiler's projections with Billy and Dario have been crushing this year that we use for the show. It's been a good spot. And one of my favorite things about Pittman is how many targets he's actually seen. Like, that's the spot to me that on top of it has just been amazing. He has a 30% target share on the team. That's like what dreams are made of when you're trying to target receptions. And then you have Josh Downs and whoever else. But that makes up over half the team's targets. And they're continuing to run, against New Orleans, they had 43 pass plays. Last week, they had 43 pass plays. They're going to have to throw the ball on Tennessee. They're not going to run on them. Even with the late resurgent world-class Zach Moss in the backfield, I don't think they're going to be able to get there a ton. But you have to remember who they're missing, who they're going after. And so this is a spot we want to attack. I love the matchup. For a guy that's getting 10.1 targets a game, he's averaging 7 receptions. And with that pass rate over expectation we see from them this week, I'm going to lock this in before it moves because I'm already scared because I lost Big Dog. And that way I got it submitted here. And confirm. We are locked.
We love it. This is what you call the alpha pack: Rachaad White and Michael Pittman. And yes, I said Rachaad White is an alpha because I will push whatever agenda that undermines Mike Evans. Anyway, that's for a later time. I really like the approach with Rachaad White, especially here, because with the rush plus receiving, it's something that I've done before with running backs. Is when you're not exactly sure what kind of playbook they're going to roll out with, depending on game score, just take the rush plus receiving because he can beat you both ways. So that's your 2-piece. Rachaad White, higher than 88.5 rush plus receiving yards. Michael Pittman, higher than 6.5 receptions. By the way, Michael Pittman, number 6 in the NFL in total route wins, number 18 in contested catch rate, 100% of the routes, so he's getting the opportunity as well, and number 8 in yards after catch. Potentially the most underrated wide receiver in football right now. So really like that Michael Pittman play. From my side, I'm going with the same game stack. And, a lot of eyes going to be on Denver versus Houston. A lot of eyes going to be on this Tampa Bay versus Carolina game for potential fantasy implications. Just a good list of games here. A lot of eyes going to be on Detroit versus New Orleans, right? Who's going to step up for New Orleans with so many injuries? Can the Lions bounce back? With the fate of the universe on the line, with the Martians have the death beam pointed at the earth, I'm going to the Falcons-Jets game because that's what I do. I want all the ugly, right? So I'm starting off with a simple wagon that is minus 125 to minus 130 on most sports books right now. I have no idea why it's being offered as a pick'em. It's the kicker facing the Jets, higher than 1.5 field goals made. The Jets have been exactly who they were in week 1 defensively that they are in week 12, right? They have been an absolute wagon for opposing kicker field goals because their red zone defense, the best in the NFL. It's with Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, etc. Even with the weeks where Michael Carter has been hurt, they've been getting stops in the red zone. Do I trust Desmond Ridder enough to, am I paying the money line for this game? I actually don't even trust Desmond Ridder enough to beat Tim Boyle, right? That's how much I don't trust Desmond Ridder. But I trust him enough to get in the red zone a few times, especially with the short fields that Tim Boyle is probably going to give us. Get in the red zone 2 times and get stopped, right? If he gets in the red zone 4 times, I think we should be good. Get 2 stops out of that. Young Hueku over 1.5 field goals made. I'm not going to go much deeper into this. This is one of the best kickers in football, so if I jinxed him by saying that and he misses one like Jason Myers did last night, so be it. I'll live with the results. This should simply not be pick 'em. And I think on the sports books, you end up seeing it closing at like minus 140 because I've been talking to some people who have started to get on this, after I talked to them this week. And I already seen it move 5 cents on sports books. So if this is off the pick 'em board by Sunday night, don't be surprised. They'll get it now. And I'm pairing that with another wagon, which, an underrated wagon in the NFL is when Tim Boyle starts, the alpha on his offense will get sprayed with targets. Now, whether or not he will throw the ball in the vicinity of Garrett Wilson's catch radius, that's going to be the adventure, and that's the only way this is not going to hit because he will throw it to Garrett Wilson. And I'm taking his over 5 receptions. I'm not going to mess with the receiving yards, even though this is an elite matchup. Here's why it's an elite matchup. So you think of the Atlanta Falcons defense, you think A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates, another super underrated guy in the NFL, Jesse Bates, shout out to him. But the Falcons defense has not been good defending opposing alphas. You go back in reverse chronological order here and see what number 1 options have done against them. Last week, Chris Olave, 7-114 with Derek Carr at quarterback, who's not as bad as Tim Boyle, but not good either. Trey McBride, yes, the new alpha in Arizona. Trey McBride, 8 catches, 131 receiving yards. The previous week, with Josh Dobbs making his first appearance as a Viking, not knowing his teammates' names, TJ Hawkinson had 769, and Addison had 552 in that same game. The previous week, DeAndre Hopkins, 4 for 128. The previous week, Evans and Godwin each have 6 catches for 82 and 66 yards. The list keeps going on. So the Falcons, they're not really interested in guarding the number 1 option on the other team, no matter who's a quarterback, no matter who that alpha is. So I'm going to trust Tim Boyle to get 5 or 6 footballs in the vicinity of Garrett Wilson and ask another top 10 receiver in the NFL to do the rest. If you look at what Tim Boyle has done as a starting quarterback in the NFL so far, when he was back with Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown regularly in, I believe it was 3 starts he got, Amon-Ra St. Brown had 10 catches in each of those games. And Garrett Wilson, similar talent last week against Miami, who's been a hot pass defense lately, and definitely better than the Falcons. 10 targets, 7 catches. And he only got 44 yards out of that because that's how broken the Jets offense is. So that's why I'm not going to mess with the receiving yards, but I will gladly ask Garrett Wilson to catch 6 footballs, and we get a push equity if he only gets 5. So that's what I'll take.
I like it. It's if you go look at Boyle's first read, it's his issue is his first reads. He can't make a second read. So if you go look at the amount of times he just throws the ball on his first read, it's that's one of the things that's going to help Garrett here, right? Garrett's going to be his first read. He's going to get a ton of looks. And if you're unaware and just getting here, Ahaan is the kicker whisperer, and that's what he does.
Yeah, I got to stick to the legs sometimes. That sounds weird the way I said that, but sometimes I got to just stick with what's working. And for me, last week I was on Wilson receptions on the books. It worked. Going to stick with that. And of course, the kicker has been fire for us as well. Carlos Manzo was up. He says no spice. If you didn't realize, Underdog has spicy picks, and I'll give you a spicy pick since Carlos is asking. I'm probably going to put it in a 4 or 5 piece entry for Sunday. Sprinkle a little bit on it. Maybe post in the Discord what I'm running for Sunday. But if I put a spicy pick in this game, and let me show you an example. So, for example, if you think Cortland Sutton's going to score a touchdown, obviously that shouldn't be pick 'em, but you do get a 1.5 times boost in this game. In that game for that. If you want a spicy pick, how about AJ Brown against Trevor's 49ers? If this game is to be competitive at all, it's probably going to be on the back of AJ Brown. He's been very quiet the last couple of weeks. Philly's kept winning without him going off. I think this is the week they say, Charvarius Ward, you had your little fun with DK Metcalf. I know you circle that on your calendar. 49er secondary is still its weakness, right? So if they're to stay competitive in this game, they gotta get AJ Brown the football, and we know they like forcing it to him in the end zone. So that's probably going to be my spicy pick of the week.
I'd actually stay in this game. We can scroll down to my Niners. We'll make it a double spice, right? Mine is easy. It's simple. Brandon Aiyuk kills zone defense. Now, with Bayard, they've run a little more man, but they still run a ton of too high safety, which Aiyuk's just going to sit underneath. He is going to get a ton of targets. I think that's a great way to use a couple spicy picks here. This isn't going to be a low-scoring game. I believe there's going to be a lot of points on the board, and these are the two guys that are going to get used. This might as well be a playoff game. This is, in my opinion, this is really going to determine who gets the number one seed. We have to beat them to have any shot at it, and Aiyuk will be used this week.
You know what, Carlos? You've convinced me. We came up with an impromptu collab. Do you think I'm not going to order the unit on it?
I love it.
We did it. Impromptu collab, but first on the show. Shout out to Carlos. Yeah. AJ Brown, Brandon Aiyuk, two alphas. Go get it done for us. Chef in the chat says, dang, I'm either late or just in time. What's good, everyone? Chef, we just finalized our impromptu collab, thanks to Carlos. But our main card for the week, mine was Garrett Wilson higher than 5 receptions paired with Young Hui Koo staying that game higher than 1.5 field goals. Trevor, remind us what your entry was.
So Michael Pittman over 6.5 receptions, which is currently minus 140 at Sportsbook. So go grab this. This is going to 7. Like, this is moving. Like, that's what it is. And Rachaad White, 80.5 higher rush receiving yards. This just moved to 91.5 at FanDuel. So again, go grab these, lock these in. Those aren't going to stay where they are. Like I kind of said when I was explaining Rachaad, I think he closes at 91, 92. We already saw FanDuel just move him. So go jump on, go take advantage, Chef. And as always, we appreciate you coming to every show, buddy.
Appreciate all the people who join us on the bonus shows on Fridays. We're going to be back next week, as usual, for week 14 to talk Thursday night football. And we're definitely not getting another great primetime game, but we're going to find winners regardless on Wednesday for the main show for Thursday night football. And we're going to keep talking to y'all in the Discord. If you want some betting content, check out our other show on Friday night, The Juice by Memphis Young. If you want betting content, check out the Top Best channel in the Discord. If you want Pick'ems content beyond this show, check out our Pick'ems channel in the Discord. But for now, let's finally go 4-0 and clean sweep the Sunday slate.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.